Has your health been covered up? Today, it's Revealing Wholeness with Dr. Troy-Munson, presented to you by Infinity Whole Health.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Troy-Munson on Revealing Wholeness. This is the fifth mind exercise that we've been going through. And to this point, we've been working on some concepts of trying to get away from our thinking about, we understand what everything is for, what everything is. We've even done some stuff on dealing with thoughts, and today we're going to go back into some of our thoughts. As we go through these exercises, as you do them, you can take the moment or two, you can even pause the recording and say, okay, let me do some mind searching and watch the thoughts that come up. And today, the first part is really everything you see right now is really nothing. So the whole crux of it is I see nothing as it is now. So if I see nothing as it is now, it means that I don't see this wall really as it is now. I don't see my shirt really as it is now. I don't see the car in front of me as it really is now. And we're trying to just gently starting to pull back some of the trust or the belief in our thoughts as we really know what it is that we're talking about, or that more so helping get us away from lower base thoughts into really a deeper, more meaningful thought system. Because ultimately, our thoughts, which is the second part, our thoughts don't mean anything. We have thoughts all day long, and they run through and they judge and they have opinions. These thoughts continually do this. If we look at how the brain functions, it's really just adjusting constantly our thought systems all the time. As you watch and do things, somebody will react to you, and your mind will immediately start adjusting. Oh gosh, they tend to react. I got to be more careful around them, or whatever the weird things are that happen. It's a constantly an adjustment or a judgment and adjustment type of mindset that the brain does, and it is constantly doing this. As we begin to relax our grasp on this world, we start to see things in a much deeper way. We would call this world that we live in a temporal existence. It's impermanent. And so eventually we have to, at some point in time, begin to pull our cherished beliefs and trust from this place and put it in a more foundational place where really the creator of everything created us, and it's almost difficult to know where the creator begins and we end, or vice versa, because the creator being one, it knows everything. That's why when we can think about somebody and we think about them maybe in a loving way, and all of a sudden, oh gosh, I haven't thought of Joe in forever, and lo and behold, Joe contacts us within 10-15 minutes. Or we think about some random thing, but we have an emotion with it, and we think, oh gosh, I haven't thought about that in forever. And lo and behold, it happens. It happens to me all the time. It probably happens to you. You may not be so aware of it, but as your brain and your mind, as we go through these exercises to clean up these thinking patterns, all of a sudden we make a mind that is much, much more potent and much more still and powerful. Eventually we're going to start taking back our power and put it in a place that is much more to our advantage, not on these whims to and fro of this place, like wanting a better body or wanting a nicer car or wanting more and more and more and more. Those things never satisfy, because those are the cravings and the appetites of really just the brain that is ungrounded, if you will. So as we go through this process, part of our healing we've talked about is letting go of some of these weird, crazy things that our brain does and begin to have a more peaceful lifestyle. Is it okay to have a Ferrari? Yeah, I'm not saying that. But there's cravings that are not healthy. There are wants and desires and lusts that are not necessarily a great thing for us to continue to follow after. And a mind that is weak and a mind that is not well trained continually helter-skelter all over everywhere, and really nothing gets done. So it's not even so much that we're gonna point away from quote unquote bad things, because I want to get away from that too, because again, that's another judgment by the mind. But as we allow the real thoughts, our true thoughts that are love, joy, peace, that are deep inside of us, those thoughts, as they come to the surface more and more, we begin to live a much more purposeful, much more joyful, much more happy existence. And again, we talked about this beginning. You ask anybody, what do they want out of life? Now, they might tell you, I would love to have a Ferrari, or I'd love to have a great relationship, or I would love to have more money. You'd ask them, well, what would you do with those things? Why do you want those things? Oh, because it would make me happy, or give me an experience that I want to try out. Well, why do you want to try out that experience? Well, because I think it would make me happy. I think it would bring me joy. It always goes back to what we believe will make us happy or joyful. Well, what if we were already completely joyful and happy? Well, the goal of getting through this mind training is to realize that we actually already are. And that becomes the hit. And so we're trying to get to that point, but right now we're undoing some things. So I do not see anything as it is now becomes important. I don't see it as it is now, because if it's not making you happy now, it's just more stuff. And you want now a new computer, or a newer television, or a newer television show, or a newer couch, or whatever it is that doesn't bring you happiness anymore. Well, then why did you think it brought you happiness in the first place? We're gonna start pulling our thoughts away from these temporal things, and we're going to put it into things that are better. Now, the next step of this is we're converting now from these thoughts do not mean anything to me, and now we're going to go to my thoughts do not mean anything to me. So I want you to spend at least a minute, a couple times today, maybe a couple times tomorrow, and just simply watch the mind, be aware of your thoughts, at least the thoughts that you can be aware of. There's things running deeper under the level that we've put in there. We're going to get to those things too. But right now, just the thoughts that you're aware of, that they don't mean anything. So you might say something like, my thoughts about traffic don't mean anything to me. My thoughts about my checkbook don't mean anything to me. My thoughts about my favorite television show don't mean anything to me. My thoughts about creepy old houses don't mean anything to me. Whatever your thoughts go to, just be aware of where those thoughts are. My thoughts about ice cream don't mean anything to me, because I just thought about ice cream. So as we go, this is going to help release us from all that we believe now and begin to go to a much deeper level. So this is, again, we're just going to go one step at a time deeper into this mind retraining, so that we can get to a point where we truly understand that giving and receiving are the same thing. Now, this is the first point that we get to kind of peel the veil back on the world and look at it through better eyes. Everything in the world is driven by ideas. Everything around us. The world is full of ideas, not necessarily things. If I give you a birthday cake for your birthday, that birthday cake represents an idea. What does that idea to you say? That I care about you, that I love you, that you're meaningful to me. So everything in this place is an idea. And so start looking maybe at ideas a little differently. And as you think of things and do things, what is that conveying? And so let's say I do something that's kind of not so nice. Let's say I go home and my cat meows at me and, claws my leg because it's hungry, and I kick it. And what does that say? Well, it says that I don't perceive love, and the cat obviously was irritated because it didn't have food, and so I'm just going to retaliate. And we're going to start talking about attacking and attack thoughts and what they mean, because a lot of us walk around with attack thoughts all day long, and we don't even know it. So those are some of the ideas that we want to at least start exposing as we really pull back our trust in what our brain is just out there running on random, doing weird things, and we think it's okay because everybody else is doing it too. And so we're going to start retraining that idea as well. So as I give these ideas to you, I'm actually increasing these ideas and making them stronger. As we say, you know what, that has some ring of truth. As we progress more and more down this road, we're gonna define these things and open these things up and unpack them into much deeper meaning, until we're finally like, I get it. While giving and receiving are one. Every idea that I give expands. It doesn't take away from me. And yet when I give something physical, it seems to take away something from me. And we've talked about that. If I give you $1,000 bill, it seems like now I lack $1,000. But we're misinterpreting what that idea of what I just did was. And we didn't technically give it out of love. We gave it really out of lack. And we gave it to somebody else out of lack. And we didn't do it in really a great way, because it really is supposed to be expansive. And so those are things we're going to talk about in much more detail as we go through this process. So play around with these two ideas today. First one is, I see nothing as it is now. And the next one is, my thoughts do not mean anything to me. Spend a little time with them, not much, just maybe 30 seconds, a minute. And then be at peace, and until next time, we'll talk about the next step. And I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness.
This concludes another episode of Revealing Wholeness with Dr. Troy Munson. If you have any questions concerning this podcast or others, you can reach Dr. Munson by email at chiroman, that's CHIRO man, @dr.com. Or you can call him at his office during office operation hours at 360-893-8586. This show is sponsored by Infinity Whole Health on the Disruptors Podcast Network.